Now is the time.
Forever? Tangent. Old.
Halt.
Hashtag always MGM.
You are approaching the unloading area.
Calm down. AK haters.
But what if it could? Behold, the
Disney
majesty of the
breeze.
Sistine Ceiling.
For the kids.
A salute to all theme parks, but mostly Walt Disney World.
Ha! What a cute ending.
Aloha and
Don't Dillo it. This is Theme Park Thursday with Dillo's Diz. I am Jen.
Oh.
Frank is not here. He is gearing up for a trip, and so he is unable to make it tonight. However, I have brought in a special guest. You know, like when Regis and Kathy Lee would be on, or Regis and Kelly, and the female counterpart would go away. He'd bring in Joy, you know, as the co-host. Kelly would bring in Mark Consuelos. You know, it's a whole thing. So this is the route we're taking. You have heard him plenty of times on the podcast before. We've talked about him plenty. You've seen his work for our 300th video and our logos and our t-shirts. Get your t-shirts on TeePublic and Etsy, by the way. Wink, wink. But we have, as a special guest co-host, the one, the only, Mr. Snydillo.
Hi, how's it going? Happy to be here. Really, really happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. And hello to everyone in the chat. We are doing this live as we typically do lately at Dillo's Diz Resort. Dillo's Diz Resort is our Patreon where levels start as low as $1 a month. That $1 gets you into the infamous one channel Discord. Whew, I've never done that. Frank normally does that, so I try to make it through.
Good.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And that Discord is lit.
It's hopping.
I gotta get more into it.
And whenever it's not hopping, we will call each other out to be like, everyone okay? Where are who's around? It's typically me and Frank that are MIA, but you know, we try to call each other out. So, hello to everyone. Hope everyone's having a great night. Thank you to Mr. Snydillo for being here. Tonight, I thought, so we often talk here at the resort how I especially do not like to talk about in real life the podcast.
It's true.
Yes.
You don't.
You try, like, oh, maybe I can I, could I? You should tell them. You should.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
I'm a no on that.
You know what's funny is at work today, you actually were brought up. And because someone asked, like, doesn't your wife do a podcast? I was like, yeah, she does. Like, my team asked this. And I said, yeah, she does do that. And they were they were asking questions about it. And I was like, she would hate that I was telling you all about her extremely successful podcast that is loved by thousands.
Oh, okay.
And I said that I would, I was going to be a guest on it. And
well, so you'll have to share this episode.
But then they're going to know about you. They're going to know about your
they're
podcast.
They're already on to me.
They're
they
on
could
to
just
you.
Search my name, and I mean, you know,
I
know I should do better. It's hard, but what I do come across is that people do know that we go to Disney a lot for you as well, and so they will often be like, "Oh, like, do you like Disney? Do you like have you been there before? Have you taken the kids?" And it's like,
and then we go, "Have we taken the kids?"
Awkward.
I mean, I normally roll it back to that. Well, we actually met in Disney,
right?
And that steers it away from how many times we've been to Disney,
right?
And it makes it more into like this adorable
thing
background. Oh, that's so cute.
So cute.
Yeah.
So people will then talk to us like, oh my God, we haven't gone, or I went once as a kid, or we're thinking about going, or whatever it is. And they will start to ask like a couple of questions here and there. And I internally always feel like, oh God, I hope I'm not being like dismissive towards them because I'm answering, but I'm not going too off the deep end, only because it is so much. And most of the people I'm talking to either have never been there, they have not taken their kids there, or they went once when they were kids. And it's like, it's so different that it's
be overwhelming.
Yes.
For sure.
So I will often tell them a couple of things here and there, and then wrap it up with, when you're ready to do a trip, You let me know. I will answer all your questions. I will help you the best I can. I will do whatever I can to help make it a little easier.
In the meantime, tune into this podcast I heard of called Dillo's Diz. I'm not in it by any means, but there are some top tips throughout there.
Right. I heard that
there's a 300th episode with some highlights. Yeah, that you could.
I heard they're like the number one sibling podcast. I don't know. Anyway, so I thought tonight, having Jay and I here, Mr. Snydillo. Oh, it's as if people don't know your name by now.
Busted.
That maybe we would discuss advice or tips we would give people who are in these situations. Like, I have never been before. I want to go, but it's so much planning, whatever it is, which, yes.
You know what's going to be so fun about that for you?
What?
Is after we do this and we have all the info out.
Yeah.
Then when people ask you in the future, be like, you know what? I actually do a podcast and you can tune into this episode, which has all my top tips.
No.
And I think that would be a good way in for people to know about Dillo's Diz.
In the words of Alexis Rose. Okay, well, I won't be doing any of that.
Right. And Jen and I may have been watching Schitt's Creek prior to this, so again, apologies.
In on that.
Yeah.
Let me catch up on the chat for a moment here. Like, and the love dozens of yes, Nate, so true. We are beloved by dozens of Orlando Uber drivers. That is, I heard that 100%.
Story, and I applaud you, Nate.
Yeah,
I applaud you for making things happen.
We need Nate around all the time. Top 5 Snydillo do's for first timers. Oh. Maybe that's the name of the episode right there. Congratulations, Jeffers. Do a Disney matchmaking YouTube channel. Tell me more about that idea, Ryan. I need to know more. Correct, Jeffers. Don't ask us about Genie Plus. Yeah, right off the bat.
No, we're not doing that.
We're not really going to be discussing Genie Plus because we don't understand it.
I don't understand it.
I don't know.
No.
I still don't understand it.
I think it's just that you give Disney lots of money.
Yeah.
And you get something.
Well, I mean, that's Disney. That's basically all we have to say. So no, Nate. Yeah. I cannot imagine saying to anyone, so I have a podcast, because what happens when we finally get to that place? Like, how red?
I feel like that could be a t-shirt we design that says, I have a podcast, and just as Dillo's Diz.
Ask me about it.
Ask me about my podcast.
No. Oh God.
Oh, that's cringy for you.
That's so cringe.
Yeah.
All right. Let's start with planning.
Okay.
Because planning is the scariest part. Mostly, I don't know. It's all scary. I would think it's all scary for people. And I will also preface this. If you are new to the podcast, welcome. Or if you are listening and maybe thinking some of what we're saying or suggesting is a little skewed, please know we understand we have the privilege of coming from a place of one, having both visited as kids. We worked in the park. We have been multiple times as just Disney adults. Yes, Disney adults. We have then taken our children over, I don't know, we're up to like a dozen times or something, so please know we understand and are thankful and grateful for all of that. And I know that may skew our vision a little bit,
nor do we have the right things, because everyone's different.
Everyone is different. That's right too.
So what we think may not be what other people feel is the right thing to do. I know we have some notes here. I don't know if I'm supposed to tell people that there's a secret behind.
I know. Well, please know though that these notes were made
about 2 minutes before getting on here.
Yeah. So.
But I know, because I agree that planning is first, but as I'm looking at it, I feel like we should add something before planning.
Oh.
There's an asterisk, a disclaimer, if you will, about Walt Disney World. And I believe that disclaimer is you will not be able to do everything that is at Walt Disney World in your trip.
Correct.
So don't plan your trip with the idea that you're going to see everything. You're not going to.
Yeah.
So that is why Animal Kingdom is the fourth park. And that's why, Disney Springs, you're not going to see all Disney Springs, and you're not going to see, all the miniature golf courses, and you're not going to see even the big golf course, probably.
Yeah. You may not go on Summit Plummet.
Typhoon Lagoon may not be open when you're there.
Right.
There's a lot of things that you're not going to be able to do.
And that's so hard because I think if you are, and I have said this many times before, if you are a single person, if you are a couple, if you are a family, if whoever you are going to Disney for your first time, you have probably saved up money for a very long time. And you want to go and be like, I want to do everything.
I want to get my money's worth.
Exactly. And I don't know when I'm coming back again.
Right.
So it's so hard to actually be like, well, what do you mean I don't get to do whatever
If
I
you
want?
are going to Disney saying, I want to get my money's worth, and you're valuing the money on how many things you do, you're not going to have a good time.
Yeah.
I think if you pick the must-dos you really want to do, right, then that's when you're going to have the good time. And the memories are what you're paying for.
Correct. I will say, even though we said we're not going to discuss this Genie Plus because we don't understand it.
No.
I do think Disney, I keep wanting to say Disney Plus, Genie Plus and Lightning Lane probably would help
for the
you
key
see
rides
as much as you can
in
the best way. However, you know, Jeffers had an amazing experience 2 summers ago with Lightning Lane. However, he was looking on his phone a lot. And it's kind of pulling you away.
It pulls you away. I do feel like maybe there's a middle ground there where you just use it for like the top 1 or 2 rides that at the park that you are like, this is the, like, I have to go on Rise. I have to go on Guardians.
But I don't understand. See, because I don't understand. Like, so can you just do no? Because you got to pay for the thing. You got
so if I'm paying for per ride.
No, you can't do per ride. No.
What?
Certain rides you could do per ride. But no, please correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. See, we're going to confuse people. People are tuning in for tips, and we're going to start confusing people.
Oh
Absolutely not attacking you, Jeffers, because it's the catch-22 of Lightning Lane and Genie Plus is that you had great success with it and were able to do so much with it. But I do think maybe you got pulled away a little bit because you were constantly checking your phone and everything. Not that we all aren't on our phones a lot anyway. I know that too.
No, but it takes you away if you're just constantly going from place to place. I've heard that from fact checker Mel Dale about Disneyland, where he felt like he just had to be on his phone the whole entire time, going from place to place. And he is obsessed with Disneyland.
Yeah. Yeah, you can do some individual Lightning Lanes, right? Certain ones, not everything, though.
Okay, but I thought that was it.
You can't buy like Peter Pan.
Oh, I'm hitting things. Exactly the ones I just suggested, Rise and Guardians.
Oh yeah,
like the big ticket.
But what about Peter
rides?
Pan?
Well,
no. Okay, so I also think. I had another thought and it escaped me. I also think it's hard. Like you had a situation. I think this time last year, by the way, you were in Disney for work. With a big
this week.
I think today.
Yeah.
And you had a situation where people were like, "Oh yeah, we might come down a day early or stay a day late." I don't know. We might just go hang out in the park. And I was no
like,
clue.
You silly fools! Yeah, they all wanted to go. They were gonna wing Galaxy's Edge the day before and just see what they could do for 4 hours before our meetup started.
Yeah.
And I was like, "You're not gonna be able to do anything. What are you doing?"
Yeah.
And guess what?
Yeah, that happens. Okay. Yeah. So the asterisk, remember, you might not get to do, you probably won't get to do everything.
So pick out the things that you feel like, well, this is the stuff we absolutely have to see.
Yeah.
We got to see Galaxy's Edge, got to see Guardians, we got to see Sunny Eclipse. I get it. Like, make these things happen.
Peter Pan, whatever makes you happy.
Right.
Okay. Planning. So let's start at the beginning here, because for me, my first thing on this list is like a biggie for me that I tell everyone, because some people like to search. I mean, let's play. What if we went to Disney this weekend?
Like
we do
that
every
day.
Right. We do that a lot.
Wow.
So a lot of people, though, will look for trips and look into flight prices and hotel stays on the weekends or whatever. You got to search that on Tuesday or Wednesday. The prices are lower for flights and for hotels. So right off the bat, that's where you got to concentrate on those days of the week for looking and searching. Then you have the whole idea of staying off property versus on property, which is very difficult because some people get sucked into the belief that Hotel Row by Disney Springs are Disney resorts.
No,
they are not. However, Buena Vista Palace, it's a favorite stop of ours. It's a great backup. We don't prefer it over.
It's called Buena Vista Palace because it starts with a B, and that's what it is. It's plan B.
Correct.
It's not You don't want to. You're not going there.
B for backup.
B for backup.
Right.
There it is. Yeah.
So I would recommend, if someone wasn't staying on property, I would say, check out the price of that one, since the Disney hotels are so pricey now, or whatever.
Right. Yeah, and I don't want to be too hoity-toity. Like, also, Disney hotels, even the Valley resorts, are super pricey. Yeah. And if it's outside your budget, then definitely that is one way to save some money, is just stay off property.
Yep.
But you do have to weigh out some give and take there, because then if you stay off property, you're not going to be able to use the transportation. You won't be able to get into the parks early or stay later. You won't be able to check into reservations earlier. And you will have this nagging feeling when you're in your hotel room that's off property, knowing that you're not in a Disney hotel. At least that happens to me.
But we're different.
It happens.
We know, because we know.
But I feel
if you don't know, you don't know.
Like, I feel like, like this was like we're in Disney and we're not a Disney hotel. But like, but that's super bratty of me to feel that way.
I think it's just a different perspective.
Right.
It's if you're just going and you're staying right across from Disney Springs, it's great. You're staying in a hotel, you're right there, it's fine.
Yeah.
And you can use the transportation, which, and you mentioned making reservations. So for those that don't know, your reservation window opens sooner if you are staying on property versus not. Right. So there's that. One of the things we hate the most, I think, about current day Disney is the planning.
There's way too much planning. Back in my day, we used to just go. Yeah. We should just go, check it out, see some things, whatever we didn't see, not a big deal. Yeah. It was a good time. Yeah. You can't do that anymore. No. You gotta plan out your relaxing vacation.
Right.
And I will admit it's not the best.
No. But again, we're coming from the place
of we used to know that. If you don't know the before time, the long ago, then you just do this now. And maybe in some ways, if I can spin this, maybe it's exciting because you can like think about all the things you're going to do. Yeah. And get built up like, oh man, this is so exciting that we're gonna go on Remy's and we're gonna go.
And you know what to expect each day. And if you plan it properly, and we'll talk about how to plan your day properly a little later, but if you're planning your days properly, like you can, it'll be good. Money. Disney math.
Disney math is
just makes sense.
You just do it.
I
wish there was a shirt that said that.
Might be coming soon. Today? Tomorrow?
Maybe
tomorrow.
Yeah.
But yes, so a lot of people are concerned with the money. Now, I have had various people ask me, like, all right, like about how much.
Right.
And sometimes I try to give them a bigger number.
Right. We try to say like 20 to 30,000.
Yeah. I try to cushion it. Right. So, to get in the like, if you're going to go and you're going to buy souvenirs and you're going to do all the things, maybe leave this cushion for yourself. But there are times where I'm like, listen, you could go and you could stay for this much at this resort and do this and do that. And they're like, wait, what? That's all it is? And I have had that reaction because I think so many people are scared of Disney and their pricing. And they're like, forget it. It is way too much money to go to Disney. And it is.
It is.
But not as bad, I think, as a lot of people have built up in their head.
Right. You could technically go for like 3 nights.
Yeah.
And do like 2 parks. And with a family of 4. And that'd be what? Probably around 3.
I mean, for 2, how many nights? 2 nights?
I feel like for a family of 4, a good round number is $1,000 a day.
You always say that.
I think it's about $1,000 a day.
I don't think that's
all
true.
in.
It's
I think it's
true.
If you do hotel and food and all the things you need and factor in the flights and all that, it's about $1,000 a day.
No. We do this all the time. You say that all the time. Now, here's some good points being brought up in the chat. 1, if you put everything on your Magic Band, it's free.
That's also very true.
Because that ties to a credit card, and you don't have to think about it.
Boop.
Right.
Yeah.
Dr. Val mentioning if you get an annual pass, you're really going for free. And you know what? That is true. After you go a certain amount of times, you are going for free.
It basically pays for itself.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't agree with $1,000 a day. Please let me know in the chat if you agree or
Do you guys
disagree
think
with
I'm off
that.
with $1,000 a day? I think for a family of 4,
I think so.
going to Disney, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah.
Going into the parks, buying some souvenirs each day. I think it's $1,000 a day.
I don't think so. Listen, we've spent a lot of money at Disney.
About
We're
$1,000 a day. So,
but we are different types of people. You know.
Right.
Anyway, okay, moving on. Another thing, we are rental car people.
Yes.
So, however,
which is a luxury.
A luxury.
Not
indeed.
something you have to do.
No.
However, especially if you have kids with car seats.
Yeah.
It's nice.
It's nice.
But bringing car seats is a pain.
That's a pain.
And using the car rental car seats
gross.
Is a bit gross.
That we did it once. Never
I don't recommend it.
No.
They put them in plastic to kind of make it like maybe. And it is true, though, if you rent a car, you may get an electric car that you don't. Yeah, I
being
saw that.
brought up in the chat,
which
there.
Is hilarious.
How would one know? Can you give tips to people who are renting cars?
Yeah, if
how
it says
would one know?
Chevy Bolt on it, then it's an electric car. But also, there's other ways to.
How else can you tell? If Jeffers is in the back seat telling you, but how else?
You could tell because there's no F and E. There's a percentage of energy that it has. It doesn't make a sound when it starts. There's no
Allegedly.
sound.
I don't know.
There's no sound. When you back the car up, it probably makes a little weird, like, woo! It makes like a weird sound like that.
I do notice that when I'm walking by cars doing
electric
that.
cars have to make a sound when they back up.
Tip one, no gas tank.
Yeah, there's no gas tank. Although you guys would have been the people pulling up to a gas station trying to open up the charging.
So here's my question. We're on a tangent, but for those who didn't catch it, Frank and I in September rented an electric car and we had no idea. And we didn't have any idea until we came home. We started putting pieces together. So that's where we are. Do you think, because we didn't drive the car that much, which was very lucky, because we didn't get stranded somewhere, do you think if we got to a point where that percentage was getting like, are we being like yelled at by the car, you think? Is it really warning us?
I think it will tell you to like recharge. I'm not that familiar with the Chevy Bolt specifically.
Because Frank did mention that he was like, oh, that was the 75% I saw.
Right, which you guys are fine. But I also think it's just funny because I'm sure where you guys stayed as well at Pop, you probably could have then just left it plugged in overnight and done that.
There's probably that setup.
So this is why I just need to come with you on these trips because then I would have taken care of the car.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's a fact.
Anyway.
All right. Okay. So our cars, we like it because one, you want to leave, you just leave. You don't have to wait for a bus. You don't have to wait for a monorail. You don't have to do all the things. Especially for kids in car seats, we check the car seats. We get them at check baggage. We put them in. Boom. You're just good. You're just done.
Just done.
However, I will say, Magical Express.
Yes.
That was a good service. And I think we only did it with the kids once.
It was a good service. The only thing I didn't like about it is that like when you're leaving, they're like, okay, well, not only do you have to leave Disney, you have to leave Disney at 4 a.m.
Really early, yes.
And be so sad.
Or make multiple stops along the way. Like
not,
all that stuff I don't like. I want to just go. That's
which
it.
Which is another pro for the rental car.
Yes.
But I also get that. I'm sorry, I'm cutting.
You're not at all. Go ahead.
The rental car though also just gives you the freedom throughout the day to do things without worrying about the public transportation schedules. For if you're taking the buses, there has been many a time where we have just waited in the hot Florida sun for a bus. And then especially if you got little kids and they are cranky, there's no time. You don't want to wait on that. And then you're getting on a crowded bus, and that's just it's.
And I think we had that during the meetup in September. There was a child very unhappy on the bus. And I felt so bad for them because you could just tell the entire family was done, and the kid was done, and now they're on a crowded bus, and it was a crowded one because we had all been waiting a while, so people are standing. It's a whole thing. It's like too much, but price wise and money saving wise, that's a great feature. However, now you got to pay Mears or whoever else to get you to Disney, which stinks. I don't like that.
Yeah, that's a downside to it, and that is an advantage to the rental car.
Yeah,
I do think that also the best thing you could do is a mix. If you get the rental car, but then you leave it in strategic areas around the park and then revisit it, then that way you can kind of move around quick, but then also have your own wheels if you need them.
Yeah.
And but that's a whole other episode. That's probably a whole other episode about the ins and outs of transportation. No, we probably can't share any of that.
No.
It's proprietary.
Yeah. But I also think that if you are renting a car, I think you have to be comfortable, like just driving in a place you might be unfamiliar with. You have to be comfortable driving to the parks and doing all the things. So
I mean, at the same time, though, you're also, you got GPS now. Everyone's got a couple CarPlay, and also if you're staying at a Disney hotel, then you're also not paying for parking to get into the hotel,
which is a pro.
Well, I mean, into the
parks. Yes. All right. So that's our. Did we say tips? I don't know. We went on.
Well, we just were saying the pros and cons of getting a car. Also, personally, and I've only done this once. Only the first time the 9-year-old went to Disney.
Yeah.
We scored a minivan.
Oh God!
And that was
were so happy.
The best Disney trip, having a minivan in Disney with the kiddo. Yeah. It was the best, and we've never been able to repeat that.
I know,
because minivans have gotten way too expensive.
Okay. So that is kind of our getting there.
Right.
Tips and tricks or ideas or advice.
Right. So you've
if
planned
you've been keeping up.
Right. So we'll regroup here.
So recap.
So you first understand and accept that you're not going to get to do everything at Disney.
Yeah.
But then you plan the things that you really, really want to do. And you set them up. Maybe you stay on property if you can swing it.
Yeah.
There are benefits to that. Maybe you rent a car to have the flexibility to get around when you want to, especially with little kiddos, so you don't have to worry about them dealing with the elements and the times of things. They can just get in an air-conditioned car, and you can get to and fro the airport pretty easy. And I think that's it. That's what we're up to. Right. So now we're in Disney.
We're in Disney.
In our Disney resort hotel with our minivan parked outside. Oh, that's so good. Can we just take that in for a second? That's so good.
I know. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. We're in Disney.
Reeling it in. We're in Disney.
My first money saving tip in Disney, because there's just so many when you're there.
Can I guess it?
JK.
Can I guess the one?
Sure.
Why is it over there? Oh. That's really funny.
Is that what you were going to guess?
I was going to guess it, though. So that's not fair, because I honestly knew that you were going to say that first, even without the notes.
I mean,
come on. All right.
So the first one is, especially if you have little kids, but not just for little kids.
There's such a build-up to this first one.
I know.
Oh, my God.
For anyone. Those bottles of water at Disney are so expensive.
So expensive. So this is actually what you do before you get to the hotel.
Right.
Is you go to the Walgreens.
Or maybe not, because there's also other ways to do it. So you go to Walgreens. And you get a package of water bottles.
The biggest thing.
For like $2.
It's literally like $3 for 30 bottles of water.
Yeah, it's the best thing ever.
It is horrible for the environment.
Sure.
But it is great for your wallet, because you will spend half of one Dasani bottle for 30 bottles of water.
Correct.
That you can just keep in your little fridge.
Yeah.
And just be chugging bottles of water.
When you're coming back from the parks and it's all hot and everyone's like, and the kids have water bottles that you got to refill. You're thirsty and dehydrated.
That's so
you
much,
want to chug water.
So much savings right there.
You want to take some Advil because everything hurts because we're old now.
And you can bring it in the park. You can bring water in the park.
Yes. Now here's what I have seen on the TikTok. Where I get all of my tips on living at this point, is that adults can bring in water bottles, their own water bottles, and go to refill state. There's so many more refill stations now.
Yeah.
Like those were not around when we were making bottles with formula
Mhm.
and bringing babies to them. Those things did not exist.
Yeah, that's true.
That's when we started buying those.
Yeah, we
water
inspired
bottles.
them to do it.
It was us.
Yeah, we did it.
But at certain quick serve locations, you can go and refill there, or some of the refill stations are just randomly around. So there's a lot of ways to not buy Dasani water bottles. I recommend all of those. Have I still bought Dasani water bottles?
I mean, if you're in a pinch,
every trip,
if you're in a pinch,
yes.
you just go, well, but there's how many did you not buy because you did that preparation? And then along with the water bottles, there is also the snacks to go along with it.
The snacks, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, because again, every adult wants a snack at the end of the day. Even though you had Disney snacks all day, you want like a little something.
Yeah.
Or in the morning, if you've woken up too early and you have a breakfast reservation, but that's not starting yet, and you need a little like granola bar, some Cheerios.
Now, I want to put a disclaimer to this because I am in no way advocating for not buying snacks on Disney property.
Oh, no.
Buy
no.
Disney property snacks.
Yes.
Get the goofy gummies. Get the pretzels, get all the things, right? But it's just, if you need snacks, and you don't want to waste a snack purchase on just like, I just need something quick.
Yeah.
And like don't buy the bananas at
where
they just have like $3 bananas.
Oh no.
Like don't buy the $3 banana.
No.
Just, like save the money for the good snacks and then have your own snacks for like what you need in the middle, in between. That's all I'm saying.
Oh my goodness, I can't keep up with the chat tonight, but every time I look, it's funny. Okay. So the next thing.
Yeah.
I mean, the next two things we have.
Did we talk about the deliveries though? Because we said Walgreens, but we didn't say that you could also get it delivered.
Right.
Yeah.
So Amazon, you can do an Amazon Prime delivery now to the hotel. You can do, I think Walmart does deliveries to the hotel as well. So if you're not renting a car and you can't stop at a Walgreens, you can still put in an order and have it delivered right to your hotel room.
So
like magic.
Convenient and time saving and money saving.
Yes, exactly. Wow.
Wow.
It's like a trifecta of magic. Okay. The next two things will be no surprise to anyone here watching us live, but maybe to someone listening who's a first timer.
Right. All the people that you have met in various locations of your life that you told to listen to this podcast specifically.
No.
Yeah.
And that is to plan your day accordingly, which you have to do a lot of now.
You have to do.
You have to do the meals. You got to do the park reservation as of now. You got to do all the things. Here's what you also have to do. This is especially true if you have kids, but I recommend it for adults as well. You got to work in nap time, pool time, something chill, something relaxing in the middle of the day. Now, my caveat to that is maybe you start later in the day. Like maybe, I'm not going to go into the park until later because they're open later. So you kind of just chill in the morning for a while. Or you have an Animal Kingdom day.
Oh, yeah. You do Nomad and then you...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then you're free the rest of the day. You just hang out, you nap, you go to a nice dinner. What about when like 2 summers in a row, we went to Animal Kingdom on the first day of our trip because we kicked off our trip with that.
Right. Number 1.
We went to Animal Kingdom until about 1-2 o'clock.
Right.
Perfect amount of time.
Perfect.
And then we, both years, one we were staying in the Polynesian, one we were not. We ate at Kona, got some Dole Whip at the Polynesian. What a good day. After a nap.
That's a great day.
That's a great day.
Yeah, but doing the midday nap and or pool time does split up the day, cools you off, gets you away from the crowds for a bit, and resets you, rejuvenates you for more time in the park. Plus, I always know for me personally, I am exhilarated to get changed and go back into the park. It's almost like you get 2 chances in that day to get ready to go into a park. Yeah. Which is like awesome.
That's fun.
I'm going to add to that too, though, because we did this one summer and it was perfect.
Yeah.
Where not only did we do a midday pool nap, but we did a mid-trip non-park, which was, I think, the perfect way to do it. Yeah. If you can do a park a day, and you do 2 parks in 2 days, and then you take 1 day, just a resort day.
Yep.
You're not going anywhere.
Yep.
You chill out at the resort. You hang out. That's when you save for like the fancier meals or the fancier meal experiences.
Maybe a resort hop.
A resort hop. You just take a break from running around, and then you're reset to go back into the parks for the rest of the 2 days. And it's like I can't think of anything better.
Especially if you are staying at a deluxe resort.
You got to.
You have to.
You're
because
wasting it.
Also, that will make you feel like you're getting your money's worth.
Oh, it does make you feel
because
like
your deluxe resort prices nowadays.
Yeah.
They're crazy.
Right.
So like it makes you feel like.
Or if you want to be really thrifty, stay in a value the first 2 nights, then stay at the deluxe.
Yeah, we've done that play. We would do that as just us.
Right.
Like
then
the last night is like
for like when we're hanging out. Yeah. But but take time just to hang out at the hotel if you can, and do it is a 5-day trip, which is more money.
Yeah.
And I see Jeffers agreeing with me. It's about $1,200 a day. So yeah.
Ryan is also mentioning an afternoon or evening at Disney Springs. Also great.
Great option.
Yes, fantastic.
Best option for that mid-Wednesday off time where you spend the day at your hotel and then at night do some Disney Springs.
Yeah, do some shopping.
Right.
Some Jock Lindsay's.
Oh,
maybe
day.
Some Boathouse for sure.
Oh, Boathouse all day.
Yes. All right. That's another episode though.
Ugh. I'm so depressed.
Yeah. Oh, we broke Lewis about saying, I know. Because Lewis, I really appreciated this about Lewis during our meetup, because he is someone that goes and he does not stop. He's like, go, 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 all the rides. And it was super nice of him to hang out with little old us on that trip and kind of just chill
Slow
at
it down.
times.
Yeah.
Because we didn't do much like just chill.
Right.
And I would prefer way more of that. But it was also hard with a trip like this because you don't want to do that much of that when you're just with everybody. Like you want to be hanging out and doing all the things. Right. But I got about a 20-minute nap in, so that was good. All right. This next tip.
Oh yeah, what's the next one?
I discussed with our friend Dr. Jacqueline, aka PixieDustPhD. Check out her YouTube channel, PixieDustPhD, over on YouTube. We discussed using strollers. She had some questions come in to her YouTube channel regarding strollers. What age is appropriate for strollers? What's the best way to get a stroller? We also had a friend text us asking us about stroller things when it comes to Disney World recently.
Right. And I feel like we have extensive experience in this area because because we've been so many times with kids at different ages, but also we constantly had different strollers. We had so many different strollers that we brought to Disney.
Yeah.
And from all ranges, we brought the big, heavy clunker one that was like a beast.
The worst.
That one was awful. And then we brought the light little one that was like small, but it was only for one kid.
Little baby.
And then we brought like the bigger, wider one that's like our go-to now.
Yeah.
And
not anymore.
Well, we can't bring it anymore. It's sad.
I think now they're done.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people on social media especially like to go at parents when they see kids in strollers. I think that's unnecessary.
Do you.
Just do you.
Yeah.
Do what's working for you and your family.
Right.
But however, with Disney especially, I think Disney is just a whole other world. There are those rules don't exist.
Right.
Because I said with Dr. Jacqueline, our kids haven't been in strollers in a day-to-day in years. However, last summer, last July, 2 Julys ago, we had them in a stroller, both of them.
Right.
Because it not only helps them, it helps us.
Yeah.
It's just the idea of carrying
all that
a
stuff.
Sweaty child and a backpack or whatever you have with you out of the park at the end of whatever it is, when they fall asleep and they're just dead weight, if I can just put them in a stroller and just wheel them on out, it's the same idea with the rental car, right? You just go.
Plus the utility.
Yeah.
Just the utility
there's
of
cup holders for
cup
us.
holders. You can put your backpack on the stroller.
Yeah.
You can put all your bags on the stroller. And then the best part of a stroller is the strolling parking lots.
Yeah.
The stroller parking lots are a way to have a hub in the park without getting a locker or anything. You could just have a stroller, even if you don't use the stroller all day.
Yeah.
Bring the stroller into the park it in front of the carousel, and leave it there. And when you buy stuff and you get things or whatever, leave it and bring it back to your stroller and just leave everything there. And then you just have like
depending on what it is.
Well, depending on what it is, you know, if you're going to the Swarovski store,
right? Maybe not that.
maybe not that.
Yeah.
But save that till the end anyway. But you know, that way you have a centralized location for all your things that you don't have to constantly carry around, and you don't have to push the stroller around all day either.
Yeah. Ryan has sorry, Ryan. I saw your name and then Lewis's comment popped up. Ryan is saying strollers serve a great purpose, but man, that first family trip when you don't have a stroller is a game changer. Yeah, and you know what? We had a little bit of that because then last July we had taken the stroller, but last August we had done a day without the stroller.
Right.
And it was like it wasn't as bad as I was expecting, which is good. But like the next trip we go on will be like the first real like full trip.
No, it's gonna be long, but also I do agree the kids now are especially the 9-year-old too big to be sitting in a stroller.
Yes,
but I do think especially on an AK day, it's gonna be, you know, it's a lot of walking.
Oh yeah, for sure. Lewis is saying, what is up with kids always having so much energy all the time when you don't want them to, but so little energy at the theme parks? Well, Lewis, I think in fairness, the heat, the crowds, and the overstimulation of it, just everything, it knocks them out. And us. Our legal counsel has chimed in saying, do not leave your purse, anything of value in your stroller when you don't have hands on the stroller. They are constantly robbed. So we, when you buy things, put them in a bag you carry onto the ride. Leave things you don't care about with the stroller. That is all.
That's good.
Yeah. Okay. Another a tip we have is the dining reservations. You wanna touch on that one a little bit?
I mean, there's a few different things to know about dining reservations. One, you got to do them early, and you got to do them often.
Yeah.
You gotta get in as soon as you can. That's another advantage of staying at the hotels. You can do your dining reservations earlier, and also you got to plan out what you're doing. And as I think Jeffers knows the best, is that you just got to keep refreshing that thing constantly, finding the tables that you want. So that's definitely a big part of it for sure. Otherwise, you're gonna be eating quick serve your whole trip if you don't make those reservations.
Yes, for sure.
No.
What about afternoon reservations?
Do not do afternoon reservations if you have a park day. This is our opinion. Do it if you want. However, in our experience, while we love the restaurants in the parks, there's many key restaurants that we love to go to, it does take away from your time at the park because they are themed restaurants and because they cost a little more than the other restaurants. They make it a whole thing. They don't rush you out, but they also almost take up too much time. And where you're like, okay, I did the whole thing. Now I want to go on to my next thing. But now you're like stuck in the restaurant and you got to stay there. And then it gets to a point where you're just like, I want to go and this. And then, so I think it's better to save the themed restaurant or the bigger restaurant event for your off day or for your break.
Or a morning and night.
Than like a midday event, because it's going to eat up your afternoon.
Yeah. I would agree with that. And we experienced that during our meetup as well. When we went to Roundup Rodeo. I don't know. I think I've been saying it wrong a lot. Where the air conditioning was nice because it was super hot that day. It's lovely sitting around a table with fine folks, but also was like, have we been here too long?
Yeah, but anytime we've done that. When we did
sci-fi.
The sci-fi was definitely one. The Brown Derby was one that took a really long time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just #OismGM.
Right. Now, I think when we did the castle, which is so funny that the only time we've done the castle is when we didn't have kids.
Correct.
Is we did that as a dinner. And I feel like that also took a long time.
Yeah, and that, I mean, and I get it.
It's a whole event. You don't want to be rushed out, and I get that. It's just...
And that was at nighttime, and it was just us, and so... yeah, I agree. I would say Lewis is saying, I would say the best thing to do is to make it sort of hard to see what is in your stroller and hard to get things out. People steal things that are easy to get to. Also a good tip.
Right. You
Thank
could just super glue everything to your, and then just cut it later.
Yeah. Those in the chat, I'll ask as we start to wrap up. What is your number one tip for someone who maybe has never been to Disney before? Leave them in the chat as we start our wrap up. Do you have any that have like popped in your head as we're talking about this? No pressure.
Oh man, that is a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Actually. I mean, I think we gave all the best ones there. I do think if you are shopping for stuff and you see something unique, just buy it.
Yeah.
Because you cannot guarantee that you are going to see it in another store. And if you wait to see it in another store, you won't. And if you buy it, you're going to see it in every store. So just get it. And that way you just knock it out.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're going to be stressed out that you're.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think like overall, obviously these are our opinions. I think you have to set the right expectations. And it's so hard to do with something as big as Disney and something as overwhelming as Disney and something that takes up so much planning as Disney. But I think if you not necessarily Dillo the expectations, but just set the expectations appropriately for your trip, for each day, recognizing that anything could happen, right? Rides might be shut down. Maybe you're feeling more tired than you did or overheated. If you have kids, maybe they're hitting their walls sooner than you thought they would hit their wall. If you are expecting food to be a certain way, read all the reviews for whatever reservations you're making as well, so that you really know what you're getting into from people who have been there, and you're not just reading descriptions. But there is so much to factor in. But I think if you set the expectations and try to focus on the memory making and taking it in when you can and just looking around and watching fireworks and seeing the characters and going on some rides, like if you can really be in the moment as much as possible, I think you will walk away feeling better than if you're expecting, well, I spent all this money and I have to do all these things and now I'm disappointed.
Yeah, that's like way better than mine. That was a really good one. Because I also, to add to that, because I do strongly agree with you on that. I feel like if you can just plan out 1 to 2 things in the morning, 2 to 3 things in the afternoon, and leave yourself that gap to just experience stuff or just maybe see something or see a parade or whatever that just happens, then you're not running from place to place to place looking at your phone the whole time. Like just pick like the big things you want to do and leave space for just being there. If you can.
Feeling that Disney breeze.
Feeling the Disney breeze.
At the meetup, they were all pretty surprised by the Disney breeze.
Because it's so good.
That's what I said. Yeah. Let me read over some tips from the chat. Lewis is saying, don't get started. It's addictive. It's true.
That is true.
But I recommend doing it anyway.
It is addictive for the best people.
Yes, exactly. Theme park Rob, water bottles, bring snacks for kids and yourself, fresh pair of socks. Oh, good one.
Yeah.
Travel deodorant, that's for the people around you. I love all those.
I'm going to add to that though. I always bring a change of clothes for each park visit. So it's like I have clothes for the morning park session and then a different clothes for the afternoon park session.
Yeah.
Because I'm just drenched.
And I like the fresh pair of socks idea, especially if you're going on like, well, not anymore, but like with Splash Mountain or even Pirates.
Yeah. And have comfortable shoes.
Soaked on Pirates. Oh, yeah.
Don't wear fashies.
Don't be fancy. Yeah. Do not be fancy. No. Ryan is saying Mr. Snydillo is dead on with that shopping tip. Plus, you can return anything you buy in the parks at your resort if you change your mind.
Oh, thanks, Ryan.
That's a good tip, though, too. Also, if your child just happens, or you take something from a store and you're in a new store and you go, wait a second, what is this?
Yeah.
Just let them know. Just let them know that, oops, this was on my stroller and I didn't buy it, and I'm sorry. I swear I didn't do anything wrong. Just let them know.
Yeah, this is the person that broke the Dole Whip machine.
So scared about a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Jeffers, go to French Quarter and get the beignets.
Obviously.
Oh, for sure.
I have yet to do that.
I know.
Which is really bad.
Next one. Yeah. Theme Park Rob, #beignets. Also saying be in the moment. Jeffers is saying that and learn how to use Genie Plus and buy it. Ryan saying don't miss the parks at night. This is why the middle of the day is so important. Important. Or starting late because you have to see the parks at night because it's magical. Dr. Val saying don't miss the small moments, especially with kids, play areas, water, etc. Talk with cast members. Also very good one. Lewis saying my tip is to ignore all of the tips you don't want to listen to. Figure out why you want to be there and live it. If you want to relax, relax. If you want to ride, ride. I love that. But be careful not to force everyone else to do what you want to do. Feel free to split up groups so everyone can do what they want to. That's a good one too. Because we've gone in bigger groups too.
Yeah. You can't have a big group stick together the whole day. That's that's not going to work. No.
Unless you're at a Dillo's Diz meetup.
Obviously.
And then you can, because it's awesome. All right. Well,
#2024.
I think that includes at least our first round of advice or tips, because I'm sure we're going to walk away from this and go, oh,
yeah,
we probably should have talked about that. But we'll keep it going. And if you are listening to this podcast on Thursday, November 9th, feel free to follow us on social media, join our conversation, tell us your tips. Even better, check out Dillo's Diz Resort, which is our Patreon level starting as low as $1, which gets you into the one channel Discord.
You can't even get something for $1 at the dollar store anymore.
Don't get me started.
But you can get a Discord. You can get the Discord for $1. Yeah. Come on.
Hang out.
Get out of here.
Talk about Disney. Nerd it up all day. What's better than that?
It's basically free.
Seriously. Mr. Snydillo, where can we find you on social media?
I don't know. You do all my social media?
You're not supposed to tell people that. You can find Mr. Snydillo at Snydillo Studios. Also at Jay Likes Cars.
Yes.
Also, I think that's it. I think that's the only.
I actually don't have that many. It's just that Snydillo Studios and Jay Likes Cars.
Yeah. Mr. Snydillo, thank you for being here and filling in for Frank. And I hope him and Mrs. Dillo have a magical trip because it is their anniversary. So happy almost anniversary to Frank and Mrs. Dillo.
Happy anniversary.
Also, happy almost anniversary to Theme Park Rob and Tracy, because did you know Theme Park Rob and Tracy got married on the exact same day as Frank and Mrs. Dillo? Same year, same day.
Unreal.
I know. It's the Lost Island here.
Amazing.
So this is what we do. Thank you all in the chat for hanging out. And until next time, that's Mr. Snydillo. I'm Jen.
Bye-bye.
Deuces. For your one-stop shop for all things Dillos, visit DillosDiz.com. Follow us on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Dillo's Diz. Don't forget to join our Facebook group at Dillo's Diz Community Core. We have plenty to see over at youtube.com/Dillo's Diz. Remember to hit that subscribe button. We'd love to have you check into DillosDizResort.com with tiers starting as low as $1. Theme Park Thursday with Dillo's Diz featuring Frank Cardillo and Jen Cardillo Snyder. Dillo's Diz Podcast 2023.